What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Look at this nice and beautiful question on the board that we're going to be solving. And the question says, find the values of x for which x squared minus 1 is equal to the square root of x plus 1. Notice that we have the positive square roots of x plus 1 on the right hand side. And for that reason, the left-hand side, which is x squared minus 1, must be bigger than or equal to 0. Now let's move negative 1 to the right-hand side. So when we move negative 1 to the right-hand side, we're going to be having x squared to be bigger than or equal to 1. So let's put this in mind when solving our question. So our first step will be for us to square both sides. So we have x squared minus 1. I'm going to be squaring the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side. I have the square root of x plus 1. I'm also going to be squaring the right-hand side. Now, squaring the left-hand side, I have x squared raised to the power of 2, then minus 2 times x squared times 1. That's minus 2x squared, and then plus 1 squared, which is 1. This is equal to, now the right hand side, you notice that the square can cancel off the square root, leaving behind x plus 1. Our next step will be for us to move what is on the right to the left hand side. So for here, we have 2 times 2, making it 4. So this becomes x to the 4 minus 2x squared plus 1. Now, as x crosses to the left, it becomes minus x. As 1 crosses to the left, it becomes minus 1, equal to 0. Now, notice that 1 minus 1 is gone. So, leaving behind x to the 4th minus 2x squared, and then minus x, equal to 0. Now notice that x is common, so we can factor out x. Now x to the 4th divided by x, I'm going to be having x cubed minus 2x squared divided by x, I'll be having 2x minus x divided by x, that's 1. And this is equal to 0. So we have two cases. We have x to be equal to 0, or we have x cubed minus 2x minus 1 to be equal to 0. So you see that we've been able to get one value of x. Let's check if this value of x is actually a solution to our given equation. Recall that x squared is bigger than or equal to 1. But what we have here is equal to 0. So we're going to be rejecting this. It is not a solution to our given equation. Now let's focus on our second case. Our second case is a cubic equation, which means we're going to be having 3 roots or 3 solutions for x. So how do we solve this cubic equation? And notice that the term with x squared is not there, but we can actually bring it up. So we have x cubed. Now x cubed, we're supposed to follow up with the term with squared. So I'm just going to bring it plus x squared, and I'll also remove it, minus x squared. So you notice that I brought the term with squared and I removed it. So it's as if it's never there. And now minus 2x minus this 2x, I'm going to be splitting it into minus x, which is the same thing as minus 2x, and then minus 1 equal to 0. The reason that I do that is so that it can be factorizable. Now, we're going to be picking two terms each to factorize. So, I'll pick the first two terms. What is common? X squared is common. So, I'm going to be picking x squared, factored out. Now, x cubed divided by x squared, I'm going to be having x plus x squared divided by x squared, I'm going to be having 1. Now, what I have here is minus, so I'll bring it out. What is common here? X is common. So, let's divide. This is negative x squared, and this is negative x. So, negative x squared divided by negative x, I'm going to be having x. And then negative x divided by negative x, I'm going to be having plus 1. I have minus here. Now, remember, there's an invisible one here. So negative x divided by negative 1, I'm going to be having x. And negative 1 divided by negative 1, I'm going to be having plus 1. And this is equal to 0. Now, notice that we have x plus 1 common. We can actually factor out x plus 1. So let's do that. So x plus 1 factored out. Now this first expression, which is x squared times x plus 1 divided by x plus 1, I'll be having x squared. So x squared minus x times x plus 1 divided by x plus 1, I'll be having x minus, lastly, x plus 1 divided by x plus 1 is 1. And this is equal to 0. Let's continue on the next slide. So for these two cases, we have x plus 1 to be equal to 0. That's the first case. And we have x squared minus x minus 1 to be equal to 0. Now for our first case, I'm going to be moving 1 to the right hand side so that we have x to be equal to, as 1 crosses to the right, it becomes negative 1. But the question is this a solution? Recall that x squared must be bigger than or equal to 1, right? Cool. So that means this negative 1, if I have to plot it here as a square, this is equal to the 1 on the right. So you see that negative 1 squared is 1, and this is equal to the 1 on the right. So we can say x equal to negative 1 is a solution to our given equation. So it is a tick. Now let's move on to our second case. For this second case, we have a quadratic equation which cannot be factorized. And since it cannot be factorized, we're going to be applying the quadratic formula to solve this. A from this quadratic equation is the coefficient of x squared, and that's 1. Our b is the coefficient of x, and that's negative 1. And our c is the constant, which is negative 1. So we're looking for x. Using the quadratic formula, x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So now let's substitute. So x will be equal to negative b. So negative b is negative 1, plus or minus the square root of b squared, that's negative 1 squared, minus 4 times a is 1, times c is negative 1, all over 2 times a, that's 2 times 1. So this simplifies into x equal to negative times negative gives positive 1, plus or minus the square root of negative 1 squared is 1. Now minus times minus gives plus. 4 times 1 times 1 is 4. So all over 2 times 1, that's 2. So x will be equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 4 is 5 all over 2. So we have a golden ratio here. So we have x to be 1, taking a positive sign, plus the square root of 5 all over 2, or x is equal to, now 1, taking the negative sign, minus the square root of 5 all over 2. So we have two solutions here. But the question is, are they solution to our given equation? Well, for this first one, 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2, this is approximately 1.618. And when plugged into our original question, you see that it is a solution. So 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2 is actually a solution. Well, for this, 1 minus the square root of 5 over 2, this is negative in nature. But when plugged into our original question, we're going to be having negative inside of the square root, which gives a complex solution. So we're not going to take this, we're going to be rejecting this. So we have two solutions to our question. We have x to be equal to negative 1, and we have x to be equal to 1 plus the square root of 5 all over 2. Well, feel free to share your ideas in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video and have learned something from this video, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss my upcoming videos. And like I always say, until next time, take care.